Hello and welcome to episode 7 of HyperSpace, the fast-paced breakdown place coming to you from colorful Colorado. On today's episode, we'll discuss the unfortunate but impressive mission failure of Astra's third orbital launch attempt and celebrate the return of Space Coast launch operations with the successful launch of Cargo Dragon to the International Space Station and recovery of Falcon 9 on SpaceX's brand new drone ship, a Shortfall of Gravitas. That's all coming up on HyperSpace. We start off today's episode on Launchpad 3B at the Pacific Spaceport Complex in Kodiak, Alaska. New space company Astra attempted its third orbital launch with its Rocket 3 vehicle on August 28th. This was the first launch of the 3.3 variant of the launch vehicle. The test flight had been scrubbed the previous day following an abort caused by engine difficulties upon startup. Unfortunately, the same tune played the next day, but without an abort. One of the 5 Delphin engines on Rocket 3's first stage failed to maintain power after startup. The rocket immediately pitched over and began sliding laterally away from the launch pad. This type of movement is known as a power slide and is caused by a thrust-to-weight ratio of near 1:1. Rocket 3 is designed to operate at an initial thrust-to-weight ratio of 1 to 1.25, but the failure of one of the 5 engines reduced this to 1:1. Surprisingly, the Astra team did not immediately terminate the launch, instead allowing the rocket to burn fuel, decreasing its mass and slowly but surely increasing its thrust-to-weight ratio. The vehicle impressively got all the way up to the point where the vehicle experiences maximum aerodynamic pressure, or max Q, before the remaining 4 engines were cut, and the flight terminated. Allowing the vehicle to continue downrange despite the failure gave the Astra team invaluable data on their engine-out capabilities and allowed Rocket 3 to move a safe distance away from the launch infrastructure. Astra's next booster, LV0007, is already in the final stages of production and will be ready to fly once the cause of LV0006's anomaly is determined and mitigated. We wish Astra all the best in getting Rocket 3 back on the launch pad. For the second and final segment of today's episode, we return to the Space Coast for the first time since June 30th. SpaceX launched the Commercial Resupply Service's CRS-23 mission to the International Space Station from Launch Complex 39A at Kennedy Space Center in Florida at 2:14 a.m. Central Time on August 29th. Cargo Dragon separated from the second stage of Falcon 9 at T+11 minutes and 54 seconds after liftoff. Dragon rendezvoused with the ISS at 9:30 a.m. Central Time on August 30th while flying 264 statute miles above Western Australia. Successful hard capture of the capsule was confirmed shortly after. The payload delivered to the orbital laboratory includes over 2,200 kilograms of science, supplies, and cube satellites. Most notable among the payload includes a prototype robotic arm from Japan and the Faraday Research Facility, which will house experiments on plants, ants, brine shrimp, and a remote-operated medicine delivery prototype. Additionally, NASA astronaut Megan McArthur celebrated her birthday on orbit and was sent ice cream, a rare frozen treat, as a present. Facilitating the flight, Booster 1061 made its 4th jaunt to space and carried Cargo Dragon C208 into orbit and on its way to the International Space Station. B-1061.4 successfully landed downrange for a 4th time on the brand new autonomous spaceport Droneship, a Shortfall of Gravitas, at T+7 minutes and 53 seconds after liftoff. B-1061 and ASOG arrived in Port Canaveral on the morning of August 31st. Dragon C208 previously flew on the CRS-21 mission that was launched on December 6, 2020, and remained in orbit for 38 days before splashing down off the coast of Florida. This is the first second-generation Cargo Dragon to be reused by SpaceX, with the capsules being designed to operate at least 5 times. Dragon C208 is expected to remain on orbit for roughly 60 days. With that, we conclude the 7th episode of HyperSpace. In the coming days, we'll look forward to the first flight of new space company Firefly's Alpha smallsat launch vehicle from Vandenberg Space Force Base in California that will carry 26 cube satellites to low Earth orbit. Additionally, we'll keep an eye on Boca Chica for any new Starship testing as the Starbase team comes closer and closer to the first orbital launch attempt. If you enjoyed today's episode, please share it with your friends and family and be sure to turn on notifications for future